Welcome back to Cyber Unfiltered, where we talk 5 to 10 minutes before this that we can't publish on the internet because we'd all be canceled.
It's a shame because it's the best part that we can never share.
We can, but we got to do it in the guise of comedy. So, but we're back. We got 3 stories. Let's just start kicking it off. So we've talked about ransomware. I don't know how many times, guys. Like, I've lost count. It's literally insane.
Yeah.
Matt doesn't know either. So
it's a weekly occurrence or a daily occurrence. I mean,
yeah.
Anytime we didn't talk about it, it's just because we wanted to talk about something else more. It was not for a lack of content.
And for what it's worth, like, it's not a very common thing. Like the chances of you getting ransomware isn't that high. The problem with it is the impact of it is extreme, right? So,
but then, there's also the extortion part of it. Some people are just losing data and they're skipping ransom and they're just sending it to extortion. Say, here, we're going to release your data if you don't pay us.
Yeah, I mean, the to that point, the big change they made was they steal the data first, then they encrypt you, then they ransom the encryption part. And when you pay it, they go, hey, we still have your data, so there you go. Hopefully you don't have anything else compromising in there. Yeah, well, we're going to get to triple extortion, quad extortion. I mean, we're going to get to a point where it's just like they're just extorting everybody. And then some of them go after your customers. They'll call them and be like, hey, we hacked this company and they're not paying. So I don't know how many levels of extortion we can go to, but it seems like an MLM at this point. It's a little bit of a pyramid scheme. Especially when you start getting into the fact that there's ransomware as a service that makes the ransomware, and there's people that go out there that actually deploy it, and then it's a whole thing. Anyway,
MLM.
Yeah, so it's a Ponzi scheme, guys. Everything's a Ponzi scheme. All right, Zscaler's Threat Labs, and they have to use a Z on that for obvious reasons. So they tracked one ransomware campaign for a month, and it profiled 334 organizations and 351 victims. So apparently a few of them got hit multiple times. The profile is interesting. Like, when we think ransomware, who are they going after? Maybe they're going after like the CEO or something like that. Like, they're trying to go after a big fish, right?
Yep.
Or they're trying to go after like IT to get somebody with privilege, trying to get in as an IT person, which happens all the time. However, in this campaign, they were targeting management, like middle management and slightly above. Because what they were doing is they were looking for not administrative rights. They were looking more for business authority. Who has authority in the business to make a payment? Who has the authority in the business that oversees budgets or vendors or reviews of contracts, holds sensitive records? Those are the people that we want to target. And it's kind of a fascinating thing. The average age was 46. So I'm 46.
Kind of like you. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes the people my age not look very good. However, I think they should use median, because I'm pretty sure it was like something like 30 something to like 70. So if they use the median, probably slanted a little higher. Just saying.
Skewed. Yeah.
Yeah, they just didn't want to make boomers feel bad. I wasn't supposed to say that. My bad. Anyway, it's true. But they went a lot after controllers. They went after like HR, sales, just operational managers and things like that. So it's really interesting when they go and they publish this data. And then they published that there was 146% more ransomware attempts year over year. And the public extortion cases have risen more than 70%. And the data volume has grown 92%. So that's almost doubled. That's kind of crazy numbers. So this is only one campaign. This is over 1 month. This is not the whole ecosystem. This isn't something like that.
Was this phishing based?
Most of it, I think, was phishing based to try and get in the mailbox. So, yeah. So a 40-person company, who's the person you want to get to? Name the seat. So one of you.
Controller.
Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah. Controller's good.
What's another one?
Writes the checks.
Somebody in HR.
Controller.
Someone with authority. Doesn't have to be at the top.
HR.
HR.
Yep.
salesperson, right? What if you can get them to, what if you get in their mailbox and you send out a sales proposal, or you change one of the sales proposals?
Any of the line managers, because they'll send stuff, they could send stuff back out to people at the company and just spread out laterally that way.
Think about in your company, if you're listening, who's somebody in your company that they could get access to? If they got access to, could ruin your day. Could it be an office manager? Could it be a practice manager?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So how often do we think that those people are being trained on how to identify phishing and cybersecurity things?
Not enough.
How often do you think they are? It's probably annual training. They're probably not doing it.
Do you think they're doing annual training in a lot of companies?
No, they're checking the box to say they did.
I mean, from my experience, trying to get people to do training or agree to send training to their customer to their employees is the equivalent of pulling teeth.
Only easier and less painful.
Yeah, they just don't want to do it. They don't want their people wasting time on training. Now, if it's mandated by like HIPAA or something like that, they'll do the annual training or something like that. But to me, annual training is worthless. I mean, not doing training, annual training are pretty much the same thing for me. Like, how long is somebody going to remember annual training? It's going to go, especially if it's boring. Like little chunks of like continuous education is going to far exceed that. But I want to talk about how they did this. This is kind of cool too. They actually were mapping out LinkedIn, and they were trying. Yeah, they were doing a little bit of open source intelligence, and they were mapping out LinkedIn and really putting together an entire org chart of the companies to do this.
Wow!
So they know who to target. Now, I've told the story before, but we had a specific one where a salesperson got phished, and this company didn't want to turn MFA on or anything like that. So the person gave up their password. They didn't have a SOC team or anything else looking at the login. So nobody looks at the logs and everything like that. They said that it wasn't worth it. And they phished the salesperson. They read through, realized the person was chummy with the HR manager, sent an email to the HR manager, and got a paycheck transferred out, changed to a bank, where the address was a liquor store. The bank was in Miami. The address on the fake check that they sent, which was awesome, was liquor store.
They're just ready to celebrate when that.
So they actually sent a real check, not an ACH check.
They actually doctored an image, which looked like AI, of a check with a routing number and account number that was a bank in Miami, but they used a real name of a bank with an address of a liquor store in the same city that the salesperson lived.
Hmm.
So the HR person didn't think anything else. I think it was canceled. It was a canceled check. Even said cancel it. Yeah. And they changed it, and then they stole a paycheck. And the real bummer is cyber insurance wasn't used here because it was underneath their deductible. So there's really no point in really doing that. So, yeah.
So that brings up a really good point. There's a lot of cyber instances that are happening that aren't getting reported.
Yeah. And this wasn't ransomware. This was just literally trying to steal somebody's paycheck. It was a pretty elaborate scheme. I was actually impressed by it. Hey, we got MFA and we got SOC with them after that. So win for me. Trying to look for the pros, and I'm trying to look for the positive part of this.
But the bigger win is that probably would have stopped it. So hopefully that doesn't.
It would have stopped it, but I mean, honestly, in the grand scheme of things, they didn't lose comparatively speaking to the company. They didn't lose that much money.
It wasn't like it was a principal amount, for everybody's payroll. Thank God.
Yeah.
Which I imagine could have happened if you change, certain information with payroll deductions and things like that when you're paying a whole company. So.
Yeah. So. Grand scheme of things, they learned it was a pseudo expensive lesson. Depends on the size of the company. For them, the money was a decimal point, wasn't really a big deal. For another kind of company, for another smaller company or something like that, might have been a bigger deal. But they got reminded that maybe they should listen, so they did. So, story number 2, though, this may affect you. The other stuff might affect you too, but this definitely will affect you. If you use Microsoft 365, you can do MFA with text messaging, and you can have it call you. I don't know anybody that's ever had Microsoft call them. Do you guys? Have you ever used that? Somebody use that?
Yeah,
No
it's
longer.
actually pretty unsafe when you think about it, because a random call comes in and said, "This is Microsoft. Press pound to allow the login."
Yep.
That's all it says.
I'll be honest. I've been doing this for a long time, and I never used that one time, so I had no idea. That's all it does is just this pound for login.
Yep.
Yeah.
You don't put. It's not like Apple or the
doesn't
Apple
even-
ID or anything like that, or
Yeah,
where you
no
give it a code
codes,
to put in.
nothing.
Okay. I know
Just
people
pound
use this.
pound.
Allow your login.
There's a joke in there someplace. Okay.
Can't
I can't believe people use
imagine
it.
why they could be getting rid of that.
Yes. Well, it's probably expensive too. So anyway, they're getting rid of that. They're going to get rid of SMS, so text messaging.
Oh, it's only not been recommended for what, 10 years?
Yeah, you know.
Even though it is the only option at many banks, which really pisses me off, to be honest.
Yeah. I like how they're moving to AppSo for that, but like we'll come back to that. That's a good
Mhm.
point. This is specifically to try to stop phishing. Passkeys are a way to stop phishing, and Microsoft's moving to them. And you can still use the Authenticator app. They're not getting rid of that. You have a choice. You can use the Authenticator app. You can use the Passkey. The Passkey actually works in the Authenticator app. So if you want to put a 6-digit code in, you can still do that. You're just not gonna be able to get a text. So let's talk about let's give a refresher on passkeys.
I think we need to. Yeah, I was gonna say. I think we need to back up and what is a passkey, because a lot of people are familiar with using the Authenticator app where they put in the code or they have to put in a 2-digit number. What's a passkey?
Yeah, it's honestly pretty simple. For the most part, a passkey is just generated for that device that you're using. Could be your phone, could be your computer, and it's provided to the website whenever you go to log in, and you don't have to put a password in. It's tied back to your device. You authenticated it. You made a passkey on that device. That passkey gets served to Microsoft in this case, and you can log in from that device.
Would I be right to say basically we approve who you are? We prove who you are. We prove you're the right person.
Yeah, because you have to.
That device is trusted. There's like a trust built between that service and that device. Okay.
Yeah, and if you want to get a little more complicated, there are ways to share passkeys, but that's like instead of Apple's ecosystem or some password managers. But for the most part, it's just authenticating your device, saying you have the authority to log in as that device. And when you go there, it goes, hey, I need the passkey, and your device gives the passkey. It's usually tied to biometrics. So like on Windows, if you have like a Windows Hello webcam or a fingerprint reader, it'll store the passkey on the device, and it'll say, okay, do your Windows Hello, either your face or your fingerprint. You do that, it gives a passkey to the website logs you in, or the app, whatever. There are other ways to do it. YubiKey is another way. That's a hardware token that you plug in, and it can store passkey as well. Whatever your choice is. But it makes it easier because then you don't need a password. That's the best part about passkeys. You just don't need a password. You don't have to so if somebody's getting phished, they can't give their password up, and they can't provide a passkey to somebody to a website that's like a fake website, because the passkey actually checks to make sure the website is the website it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
So it can't.
But if somebody gets on my computer as me, will my passkeys work?
Well, that's a different problem. We're going to talk about that in a minute.
And I would argue that's one that would exist already anyway.
Yeah, because everybody has their password saved anyway.
Yeah.
So, yep. So it's really just saying your device is allowed to get in. So if you get an email that says, hey, you have to log into Microsoft, and they give you a fake website, you log into Microsoft, it's not going to work. Passkey won't be given away. And so you can't get your account stolen like that. That's why it's called phishing resistant. It's not perfect, but it's a better way to do it. So, I think it's easier for most people. However, not everybody implements it the same, so it makes it somewhat more complicated, which is really baffling. It kind of reminds me of like USB at this point, like USB-C.
Mm-hmm.
You get a USB-C cable from Apple. It can only transfer data at like USB 2.0 speeds. But then you can find a random one that'll do 3 speeds, and then another one they'll do 4. It's like confusing. It's like, okay, what does this cable do? Same thing with passkeys. Like, why do different websites do passkeys differently? Where do you store them? Things like that. So I made this way too complicated. It's tied to your device for the most part. So your iPhone, your Windows computer, your Android device, you can store the passkey on there. You'll have to log in multiple times usually, unless you can share it. But like you'll once you log in and generate that passkey, that device can log in. So moving on to story number 3. Microsoft wants to get rid of this, but then Microsoft has a bug right now where at Black Hat that's going on right now, it's a cybersecurity conference. Some people showed a way to actually reconstruct the passkey if they've compromised that local device. So like what you said, if somebody hacks the computer, there is a way for them to leverage that passkey and steal it to log in someplace else. Microsoft will fix that. Google is also affected by this too in Chrome. There's a way to store passkeys in Chrome. It goes back to what we've said before. Please don't use a browser to store your passwords or your passkeys. It's just not a good idea. It's never been a good idea. Google will probably fix this, but it was the same thing. When you synced your passkeys to your Chrome, it was no longer device driven. It was tied to your account. There's a way that they were able to use a master secret to reconstruct the passkey and steal them and then use them other places. So, but to do that, they have to compromise your device. So they would have to get on your computer. You'd have to give them access to it somehow, either through a phishing link or something like that. Maybe you clicked on a website, you download a piece of software that had a malware incorporated in it, and they could steal the passkey. So,
and your host.
Yeah. So Microsoft wants you to switch to this, but there's things
on
we
the
have to,
device anyway. They've already got access, but then
Right.
they're able to share access.
None of this is
It
perfect.
makes a really bad problem worse.
Right. This is this is a better way to do multi-factor authentication for people. However, we just want to have everybody understand that it's not perfect because there's no such thing as perfection in security. We do as much as we can to make sure that we minimize the risk, but there's always going to be a risk. So just because all your users use passkeys doesn't mean you're 100% safe. There's other things you need to do to make sure that the passkey doesn't get compromised. Make sure the device doesn't get compromised. You want to make sure that those computers that you have are clean and that you're actually monitoring them. So as much as we want to talk about protecting logins, because it's really important, because like a lot of people are just logging in now, you still need all these other defenses to make sure that login stays safe.
Mm-hmm. Layers of an onion.
We're going full Shrek on people. So
I am. I think I want to watch that movie with my kids later. I'm feeling
we're never getting
onion
monetized,
security.
but we're never getting monetized because I drop like actual names and stuff like that. If we start humming songs, we're really
Disney's going to
Oh,
start
no.
suing us, even though we don't exist, really. So that's cool.
Yeah. So if anybody's watching around, I wonder if we can do that for flock cameras.
Ooh.
Just a thought. See,
I saw one town had the 4 cameras in the town disappear overnight.
All of them, yeah, without a
Okay.
trace, and nobody knows anything. And
The
magically,
poles are left and the poles are there, but that's a different story.
this is what we call
that had a
organic.
security camera. Suddenly, they said the recordings didn't get anything. It was kind of comical.
Really? Okay, let's summarize because this is what we like to call organic content. We did not talk about this at all, but
We did
I
not.
think we should. I think we should for a second. So,
Okay.
just recap real quick. If you get text messages from Microsoft or you get a phone call, for you weirdos out there that like to have the phone call, that's going away. It's going to start in September. They're going to start pushing you towards passkeys. In February, it's gone. There's like February, it's gone. So you have until February for you weirdos that like to get phone calls.
But to be clear,
So yeah,
if you don't jump straight up to the best thing, which is passkey,
yeah, there is a middle
authenticator is
ground.
not going away.
Sure.
So there are
100%.
still other options, but the fact of the matter is the phone, it's just not secure. It's just
Right.
too easy to intercept. So gone.
Talk
No
to
option,
your
no way around it, no way to override it.
talk to your IT professional, cybersecurity professional, for how to do this. But just know that it's something that's coming. And that passkeys, they're not perfect because nothing is perfect, but they're the best thing we have right now. Arguably, hardware tokens are better, but like they're way more complicated and nobody likes them. No normal person likes them anyway. Hardcore security people love them. But let's talk about Flock for a second, because this is like, I mean, if we're gonna get canceled, let's just get canceled on Flock. How many of the Flock stories have you seen?
I can't keep up, man.
Can't keep up. I actually saw a map somewhere that showed where they all were.
Okay. I have some comments on this, and I had a conversation the other day with somebody, and they were like, you know, it'd be better if they could store the video footage just at each precinct. And I'm like, yeah, but that defeats the purpose of trying to find like a crime. So you got to be able to search like a large data set. The problem that we have is like Flock has access to all that. A third party, they seem to have free reign on that, which poses a very interesting privacy issue, especially when they start looking at schools and stuff like that. Allegedly, we'll go with allegedly on that one. Did you see what happened in Wisconsin last week with that woman? They tagged her car as involved in a murder investigation, and they pulled guns on her on the street.
Yes.
Then there was a guy from Wisconsin. Wisconsin's in the news for this one. He was just going across to the state lines to Michigan. He wanted to partake in a little bit of the smoking, and they used it as probable cause to pull him back over when he came back into Wisconsin. Flock cameras. There's a number of other ones.
Well, I feel like we can expand a whole thing on this, and I know it crosses some political, not even political lines. That's not right. I mean, it's ethical.
This is about as apolitical as possible. This is pretty apolitical.
This is one of those times where I feel like it's not the technology that could be our problem. It's the use and the trust of the implementation. So that's a whole thing.
Here's a teaser. Next week we'll talk about Flock. The whole thing will be about Flock, and we are going to do our best to absolutely get flamed and canceled by both sides in this discussion. All right. All right. You guys have a good week. And next week is Flock week. All right. You got something? You want to finish with something else?
Looking forward to it.
No,
Flock
we're
week.
done. We're at 22 minutes now.
We're done? I don't care about time. Time doesn't matter. But all right. You guys have a good week. And next week is all about Flock.